The north is cold and full of whispers.
What if Jon Snow caught Jaime and Cersei in the Broken Tower? Before we dive in, check the link in the description if you want exclusive Timelines members-only videos you won't find on YouTube, all on our Patreon. Jon Snow jolts awake, not the slow drift of morning consciousness, not the gentle pull from sleep, a violent, gasping lurch into wakefulness, like a drowning man breaking the surface. His heart hammers against his ribs, sweat soaks through his tunic, the stone walls of his chamber swim in and out of focus. He knows these walls, he knows this room. He has slept here every night of his life, but he also knows things he should not know. Flash, the Red Wedding, Robb's crown, Catelyn's scream, steel and blood, and the rains of Castamere playing while his brother dies. Flash, Castle Black, the knives, his brother's faces, the cold, the darkness, the nothing. Flash, coming back, the weight of it, the wrongness of breathing again. Flash, Daenerys, her face in the firelight, the taste of ash, King's Landing burning, screaming, so much screaming. Flash, the throne room, her eyes, the knife in his hand. Her blood on his hands, Jon presses his palms against his temples. His breath comes in short, sharp gasps. This is not real. This cannot be real. He lived through all of it. He died. He killed. He lost everything, and now he is here, in Winterfell, in his old chambers, 14 years old. He stumbles to the window, throws open the shutters. The cold air hits his face like a slap. Below in the yard, servants are already moving, preparing. The royal banners are being raised on the walls. Gold and black, the crowned stag of House Baratheon. King Robert is coming to Winterfell today. Jon's hands grip the windowsill. His knuckles go white. He knows what happens today, knows every moment of it. The feast, the laughter, Bran climbing, Bran falling. Jaime Lannister pushing a 7-year-old boy from a tower window to keep a secret. The secret that starts a war. Jon's internal voice steady and cold. I've lived this before. I've died. I've killed the woman I loved, and I know what's coming. I know what they'll do, what everyone will do. He looks across the yard to the broken tower. It stands silent in the morning light, abandoned, crumbling, the perfect place for a queen and her brother to meet in secret. Jon's jaw sets. Not this time. This time I stop it before it starts. He turns from the window, dresses quickly, the leather feels familiar against his skin. Ghost is curled in the corner, a small white pup, not yet the massive direwolf he will become. Jon kneels beside him, scratches behind his ears. Come on, boy. We have work to do. Winterfell, the courtyard, morning, the yard is chaos. Servants rushing, guards drilling, horses being groomed for the royal arrival. Jon moves through it like a shadow. He is a bastard. No one looks at him unless they have to. He finds Bran near the armory, 7 years old, all energy and enthusiasm, watching the older boys practice with wooden swords. Bran, Jon says, his brother turns, grins. Jon, did you see? The king is coming. Father says I can sit at the high table tonight. A real feast. Jon kneels so they're at eye level. Bran, I need you to do something for me today. What? Stay with me. Don't go climbing. Bran's face falls. But Jon, I wanted to see... I know. Jon grips his brother's shoulders, gentle but firm. But today is important. The king. The feast. Everyone will be watching. You need to be where father can see you, where mother can see you. Please, trust me. Never steered him wrong. All right, but tomorrow? Tomorrow you can climb all you want, Jon says. The lie tastes like ash, but tomorrow the Lannisters will be dealt with. Bran runs off. Jon watches him go, feels the weight settle a little lighter on his chest. One crisis averted, now for the larger one. Winterfell, the Great Hall. Midday. The royal procession arrives with trumpets and banners. Jon stands at the back of the gathered household, watching. Robert Baratheon dismounts from his horse, massive, bearded, loud. Not yet the broken drunk he will become, not yet crushed by 17 years of marriage to a woman who despises him. Beside Robert, Queen Cersei, golden hair, beautiful. Cold, her eyes sweep over the Stark household like she is cataloging possessions. And behind them, the Kingslayer, Jaime Lannister, golden armor, golden hair, the man who will push a child from a window this afternoon. Jon's hands clench. He has to force himself to stay still, to not draw Longclaw. No, he doesn't have Longclaw yet. Just a bastard sword, nothing that could stop the best swordsman in Westeros, not with steel, but with knowledge. Robert embraces Ned like a brother, laughs, claps him on the back. Ned, still hiding up here in the frozen waste, I see. You've gotten old, you bastard. And you've gotten fat, Ned says dryly. Robert roars with laughter. The whole yard relaxes. This is good, this is right. The king and the hand reunited. Jon watches Cersei. She is not laughing. She is watching the Stark children, cataloging, calculating. Her eyes pass over Jon without pausing. A bastard, beneath notice. Good. He needs her to underestimate him. The feast will be tonight. And after the feast, when the castle is quiet and full of wine, Jaime and Cersei will slip away to the broken tower, to the place they always meet. Jon has until then to put the pieces in place. Winterfell, Ned Stark's solar. Afternoon, Jon waits outside his father's solar for 20 minutes before he works up the courage to knock. Enter. Going over accounts, preparing for the expense of hosting a king. He looks up when Jon enters. Surprise flickers across his face. Jon, is something wrong? Jon stops. He has rehearsed this 100 times in his head. It still feels impossible. I need to speak with you about tonight. Ned sets down his quill, gives Jon his full attention. This is what Jon has always loved about Ned Stark. When you speak to him, he listens, truly listens. Go on. When the castle is quiet, I need you to come with me to the broken tower. Ned's brow furrows. The broken tower. Jon, that structure is unsafe. No one goes there. Someone does, Jon says. Tonight, and you need to see it. See what? Jon takes a breath. I can't tell you, you wouldn't believe me if I did. But I swear on my honor, Father, on everything I am, if you come with me tonight, you will see something that changes everything. Something the king needs to know. Ned studies his face for a long moment. Jon keeps his gaze steady. Honest. He is not lying. Not really. This is important, Ned says. Not a question, a statement. More important than anything. Ned nods slowly. Then I will come. But Jon, if this is some boyish prank, it's not. I swear it. Another long look. Then Ned returns to his accounts. After the feast, then, I'll meet you in the yard. Jon bows, leaves before his nerve fails. Step 1 complete, now for the harder part. Winterfell, the feast, evening. The great hall is alive with noise and light. Hundreds of candles. The high table groaning with food. Robert holds court from Ned's seat, red-faced and laughing, a cup of wine perpetually in his hand. Jon sits at the far end of the low tables, the bastard's place. He barely touches his food. His eyes track the room. Cersei picks at her meal, bored, contemptuous. Jaime stands behind Robert's chair, perfect, dutiful. The white cloak of the Kingsguard across his shoulders. They are good at this, at pretending. They have been doing it for 17 years. Jon sees the moment it happens. Cersei catches Jaime's eye. A look, nothing more. But Jon knows that look. He has seen it in his visions, in the memories that are not his memories. That is the signal. Cersei rises, murmurs something to Robert. He waves her off without looking. She glides from the hall. A queen retiring early. Nothing unusual. Jaime waits. 10 minutes. 15. Then he leans down, whispers something to Robert. Robert laughs, claps him on the shoulder. Jaime bows and leaves. Jon counts to 100. Then he rises, slips from the hall. No one notices. No one ever notices the bastard leaving. Ned is waiting in the yard as promised. He has changed into riding leathers. Practical, ready for anything. Well, Ned says. We need the king, Jon says. Robert? Jon, he's deep in his cups. He needs to see this himself. No one else, please, Father. Trust me. Ned hesitates, then nods. Wait here. He returns to the hall. Jon waits, his heart hammering. This is it. This is the moment everything changes. 5 minutes later, Ned returns with Robert. The king is flushed, annoyed at being pulled from his wine. What's this about, Ned? The boy said something about the tower. I don't know myself, Robert, but Jon insisted you needed to see. Robert looks at Jon, really looks at him for the first time. You're the bastard. Ned's boy. Yes, Your Grace. And you have something to show me? The broken tower, Your Grace. There's something you need to see about the Queen. The words hang in the air. Robert's face darkens. About Cersei? What about her? I can't explain it, Your Grace. You have to see it yourself. Please, it's important. Robert looks at Ned. Ned nods. The boy has never lied to me, Robert. If he says it's important, Robert's jaw works. Then he nods sharply. Lead the way, boy, and this had better not be a waste of my time. Jon leads them across the yard. The broken tower looms ahead. Dark. Silent. His hands are shaking. He clenches them into fists. They reach the base of the tower. Jon pushes open the door. It creaks, loud in the silence. Up there, Jon says, the chamber at the top. Robert looks at the spiral stairs, narrow, steep. If I climb all the way up there and find nothing, boy, you'll regret it. You won't find nothing, Your Grace. Robert grunts, starts climbing. Ned follows. Jon brings up the rear. His heart is in his throat. What if they're not there? What if he got it wrong? What if... They reach the chamber door. It is closed but not locked. Robert pauses, looks at Ned. Ned's hand goes to ice at his back. Robert pushes the door open. Silence. Complete, absolute silence. Jaime Lannister and Cersei Lannister are frozen in the center of the room, naked, entwined, their eyes wide with shock and horror. Robert's face cycles through red to white to purple. A vein throbs in his temple. His breath comes in short, sharp bursts. He cannot speak, cannot move. Ned's face is carved from stone. Jaime Lannister, he says. His voice is cold, formal. In the name of King Robert Baratheon, I place you under arrest for high treason. Jaime scrambles for his sword. It is across the room with his golden armor. He is naked, unarmed, vulnerable. Robert finds his voice. It comes out as a roar. You. Words fail him. You. Cersei tries to cover herself. Robert, this isn't... Robert backhands her across the face. The crack echoes in the small chamber. Cersei falls, blood trickles from her split lip. Don't, Robert says. His voice shakes. Don't say a fucking word. Ned's guards are already rushing up the stairs. Jon must have sent them ahead. No, he didn't send them. They heard the king's roar. They came running. They flood into the chamber. Jaime is seized. Chains are brought. He does not resist. What would be the point? He is caught. Completely. Utterly. Cersei is dragged to her feet. She is weeping now. Not gracefully, not beautifully. Ugly, desperate sobs. Robert stands in the center of the room. Shaking, Ned puts a hand on his shoulder. Robert, come. We will deal with this below. Robert allows himself to be led away. Down the stairs, across the yard. The guards follow with the prisoners. Jon is the last to leave. He stands in the empty chamber, looks at the rumpled furs, the scattered clothes, the place where it all would have started. Not this time. He turns and descends into darkness. Winterfell. The great hall. Late night. The hall has been cleared. Only the Starks remain, and Robert, and the two prisoners in chains. Jaime stands straight despite his bonds, defiant. Even now, Cersei's eyes are red, swollen. She looks at Robert with something like hatred. Robert paces, back and forth, a caged animal. How long? His voice is quiet, deadly. How long has this been going on? How long? Robert stops pacing. The children, Joffrey, Tommen, Myrcella. Not yours, Cersei says. Vicious, cruel. They were never yours, Robert. They're mine and Jaime's. Robert's face contorts. He lunges for her. Ned catches him, holds him back. Robert, not here, not like this. Robert is making sounds, not words, just raw animal sounds of pain and rage. Catelyn Stark speaks for the first time. The children are bastards, born of incest. Her voice is ice. They have no claim to the throne. No, Ned agrees. They don't. Robert finally regains control, steps back from Ned's grip. Lock them in the dungeons, separate cells. No one speaks to them. No one sees them. Not until I decide what to do with them. The guards drag the prisoners away. Jaime goes quietly. Cersei screams, curses, threatens. It doesn't matter. When they are gone, Robert collapses into a chair, puts his head in his hands. 17 years. 17 fucking years, Ned. I know. I have no heirs. My children, they're not my children. They're abominations. Yes. Robert looks up. His eyes are red. What do I do? Ned is silent for a long moment. We deal with the traitors, then we deal with the succession, one step at a time. Robert nods, looks around the hall. Where's the boy? The bastard? Jon? Ned looks around. Jon is standing in the shadows near the door. He's here. Come here, boy. Jon approaches, slowly, cautiously. Robert is an injured bear, unpredictable. Robert stares at him. How did you know? How did you know they would be there? Jon has prepared for this question. I saw them together before, Your Grace, a few days ago. The way they looked at each other, it wasn't proper. I followed the Kingslayer tonight, saw where he went. I didn't know what to do, so I told my father. It is a lie, but a plausible one. Robert continues to stare. Then, impossibly, he laughs. A broken, bitter sound. A bastard boy has more honor than my own wife. More sense than I've had in 17 years. He looks at Ned. Your boy saved me from living a lie, Ned. Saved the realm from putting a bastard of incest on the Iron Throne. Jon is a good lad, Ned says quietly. He's more than good. Robert stands, walks to Jon, places a heavy hand on his shoulder. I owe you a debt, boy, one I don't know how to repay, but I will. Somehow I will. Jon bows his head, says nothing. There is nothing to say. Robert turns back to Ned. Tomorrow we begin dealing with this. Tonight, I need to drink until I can't think anymore. He leaves. Catelyn follows, seen to the household, dealing with the whispers that are already spreading. Ned and Jon are left alone. How did you really know? Ned asks. Jon looks at his father, Honorable Ned Stark, the man who raised him, the man who lied for him for 17 years. I can't tell you, Jon says. Not yet. But I swear, Father, everything I do is to protect this family, to protect the realm. You have to trust me. I don't understand, but I trust you. That's all I need. They stand together in the silent hall. Outside, the wind howls. Winter is coming. But this time, the realm will be ready. Winterfell. The dungeons. The next morning, the dungeons of Winterfell are not large, not cruel, just stone cells built deep beneath the castle. Cold, dark, secure. Jaime Lannister sits on the floor of his cell. His hands are chained. His white cloak is gone. He wears rough wool. A prisoner's garb. He does not look broken. His eyes are clear, alert. When Ned enters, Jaime rises smoothly. Lord Stark, come to gloat? No. Ned stands outside the bars. I've come to ask you questions. Ask away. I have nothing to hide. Not anymore. How long have you been sleeping with the Queen? I told Robert the truth. Since we were children, 13 years old, before either of us understood what it meant. And the children? All mine. Jaime's voice is flat, matter of fact. Joffrey, Tommen, Myrcella, all born of Cersei and me. Ned's jaw tightens. You are Kingsguard. You swore sacred oaths. To protect the king. To father no children. I broke one oath to save 500,000 people when I killed the Mad King. Jaime interrupts. I'll break another to be with the woman I love. Your honor is a luxury, Stark. I live in the real world. Ned stares at him, disgusted. But also something else. Unnerved. There is a strange honesty in Jaime's defiance. A lack of shame that is almost admirable. You will die for this, Ned says. Probably. Jaime sits back down. But I won't apologize. I loved her. I still love her. If that makes me a traitor, so be it. Ned leaves without another word. In the next cell, Cersei is a different story. She sits hunched in the corner. Her golden hair is tangled. Her dress is torn. When Ned appears, she rushes to the bars. Ned, please, you have to help me. Help you? The children, Joffrey, Tommen, Myrcella. They're innocent. They didn't choose to be born this way. Please, don't let Robert hurt them. They are bastards born of incest. They have no claim to the throne. That is not my decision. That is law. Then legitimize them. Cersei's voice rises, desperate. Robert can legitimize them. Make them Baratheons in truth. They're just children. They don't deserve to die for our sins. Robert will never legitimize the children of your incest, Ned says coldly. You know this. Cersei's face crumples, then hardens. Then we are all dead. And you've started a war, Lord Stark. My father will burn the North to ash to avenge this. Your father is welcome to try. Ned turns to leave. Wait. Cersei's voice is quiet now, calculating. There's something you should know. About your precious bastard. Ned stops. What about Jon? How did he know, Ned? How did a 14-year-old boy know where to find Jaime and me? We've been so careful. For 17 years. No one knew. No one. And then one night your bastard leads the king straight to us? Jon saw you together. He suspected. Suspected incest? Cersei laughs, bitter. You're smarter than that, Stark. That boy knew. Somehow he knew exactly where we would be and when. Ask yourself how that's possible. Ned's jaw tightens. Jon is loyal. To me. To this house. Is he? Or is he playing a deeper game than you realize? Ned leaves without responding. But Cersei's words follow him. Seeds of doubt planted in careful soil. Winterfell. The Great Hall. Midday the household is assembled. Every man, woman, and child who serves House Stark. They stand in silent rows, waiting. At the high table sit Robert, Ned, and Catelyn. Jon stands to the side. In the shadows, always in the shadows, 3 children are brought forward, Joffrey, Myrcella, Tommen. They are confused, frightened. No one has told them what is happening, only that the king has summoned them. Robert looks at them. His face is carved from granite. These children who called him father, who he raised, who are not his. Joffrey Baratheon. Myrcella Baratheon. Tommen Baratheon. His voice carries through the hall. You are bastards, born of incest between Cersei Lannister and Jaime Lannister. You are not my children. You have no claim to my name. You have no claim to my throne. Joffrey's face goes white, then red. You can't. I'm the prince. I'm your heir. Robert stands. You are nothing. The word echoes. Joffrey recoils as if struck. Myrcella begins to cry, quietly. Tommen stares at the floor. From this day forward, Robert continues, you will be known as Joffrey Hill, Myrcella Hill, and Tommen Hill, bastards of the Westerlands. You will be sent to Casterly Rock, to your grandfather. Let Tywin Lannister deal with the consequences of his children's actions. No, Joffrey's voice breaks. No, you can't do this. I'm the prince, Mother said. Your mother is a traitor and a whore, Robert says flatly, and you are her bastard. Guards, remove them. The children are led away. Joffrey screaming. Myrcella weeping. Tommen silent. The hall erupts in whispers. Shocked, horrified, excited. This is the scandal of the century. The queen caught with the Kingslayer. The heirs revealed as bastards. This will be in songs for generations. Robert sits heavily. Looks at Ned. Send a raven to Tywin Lannister. Tell him what has happened. Tell him his children are guilty of high treason. Tell him he has 1 moon's turn to come to King's Landing and kneel before me, to beg for mercy, or I will consider House Lannister in open rebellion, and I will destroy them. Ned nods. It will be done. Robert looks around the hall, finds Jon in the shadows. Come here, boy. Jon approaches, slowly. Every eye in the hall is on him now. Robert studies him. You saved me, Jon Snow. Saved me from living a lie. Saved the realm from disaster. That deserves a reward. I need no reward, your grace. I did my duty. Your duty. Robert laughs. Short. Sharp. You have more honor than most lords I know. More courage than my own Kingsguard. He looks at Ned. I want to legitimize him. The hall goes silent. Robert, Ned begins. I have no heirs, Ned. My children aren't mine. Stannis is Stannis. Renly is too young. I need someone I can trust. Someone with honor, someone who has proven himself. I am just a bastard, your grace, Jon says. His voice is steady, but his heart is pounding. This is not how it was supposed to go. This is too much, too fast. You're Ned Stark's son, Robert says, raised by the most honorable man in the 7 kingdoms. You're exactly what I need. He looks at Ned. With your permission, I would legitimize Jon as Jon Stark. Ned is silent for a long moment. Then he nods slowly. If that is your will, your grace. It is. Robert stands. Jon Stark, kneel. Jon kneels. The stone is cold against his knees. Robert draws his sword, places it on Jon's shoulder. By the authority vested in me as king of the 7 kingdoms, I declare you Jon Stark, trueborn son of House Stark. All rights and privileges attendant thereto. The sword lifts. Jon rises. He is no longer a bastard. He is a Stark. legitimate, acknowledged. The hall erupts in applause. Jon looks at Ned. His father is smiling, proud. But there is something in Ned's eyes, a question, a worry. Jon meets his gaze, steady, certain. "Thank you, father. You're welcome, my son." The weirwood's red eyes seem to watch him, knowing. The face carved in the bark is stern. Ancient, ghost lies beside him, growing every day. Footsteps. Jon does not turn. He knows those footsteps. Ned sits beside him, says nothing for a long time, just sits in the silence of the God's Wood. Finally, "You're different." Jon says nothing. "Since this morning, since the tower, you're colder, harder, like you've lived more than 14 years. Ned looks at him. "Cersei said something to me in the dungeons. She asked how you knew exactly where to find them. I told you, I know what you told me. And it was a good story. Plausible, but not the truth." Ned's voice is gentle, not accusing, just seeking. "I've raised you since you were born, Jon. I know when you're hiding something." Jon stares at the weirwood. The face stares back. "If I told you the truth, you wouldn't believe me. Try me." Jon takes a breath. "I've lived this before, all of it. I grew up. I joined the Night's Watch. I died. I came back. I fought the dead. I killed the woman I loved to save the realm. And then I woke up here, 14 years old, with another chance." Silence. Ned does not laugh, does not scoff. He just sits, thinking. "The old gods," Ned says finally, "they sent you back." "Maybe. I don't know. I just know I can't let it happen again. The war, the death, the long night. All of it, I have to stop it before it starts." "And you did. You stopped the Stark-Lannister war before it could begin." "Yes." More silence. "This is why you knew to stop Bran from climbing," Ned says. "Why you knew about Jaime and Cersei. You've seen it all before." "Yes." Ned reaches out, places his hand on Jon's shoulder. "Then I will trust you, my son. I don't understand, but I trust you." Not since he was a boy, but Ned's words break something in him. "Thank you, father." "But Jon." Ned's voice hardens slightly. "Robert cannot know the truth about your parentage. Not yet. He still grieves for Lyanna, still hates Rhaegar. If he knew you were Rhaegar's son—" "I know." Jon's voice is bitter. "He would kill me, or worse. So we keep the secret, for now. You are Jon Stark, my trueborn son, nothing more." "Agreed." They sit in silence, father and son, the old gods watching. Above them in the darkness, a raven caws. The message is being prepared. The letter to Tywin Lannister. The letter that will change everything. The game is in motion. And this time, Jon knows every move before it happens. This time, the realm will survive. Winterfell, Robert Solar. 3 days after the arrest. Robert Baratheon sits at Ned's desk, a quill in his hand, parchment before him. His face is sober, focused. He has not touched wine in 3 days, the longest stretch in years. Ned stands by the window. Jon is near the door. Robert called them both, said he wanted witnesses, said he wanted people who understood what this letter meant. Robert speaks as he writes, testing the words, making them real. "Lord Tywin Lannister, Warden of the West, Lord of Casterly Rock." He pauses, dips the quill. "Your son has broken every oath he swore as a Kingsguard. Your daughter has made the king's children bastards born of incest. I have them both in chains in Winterfell. The witnesses are unimpeachable. The evidence is absolute." He stops, looks at Ned. "How does that sound?" "True," Ned says. Robert nods. Continues. "You have 2 choices, Lord Tywin. Come to King's Landing. Kneel before me. Receive my judgment with whatever mercy I see fit to grant. Or I will consider House Lannister in open rebellion against the crown, and I will act accordingly." He signs it. Robert Baratheon, by the grace of the gods, first of his name, King of the Andals, and the first men, Lord of the 7 kingdoms, and protector of the realm. The seal goes on. Hot wax, the crowned stag pressed into it. Final. "Send it," Robert says. Hands the letter to the maester waiting by the door. "Fastest Raven, I want Tywin to have this within 3 days." The maester bows. Leaves. "You're quiet, boy. What are you thinking?" Jon hesitates. "I'm thinking Tywin Lannister will not kneel, your grace." "No," Robert agrees. He won't. He'll go to war, which is exactly what I want him to do. Robert, I know what you're going to say, Ned. War is costly. War is dangerous. War tears the realm apart. Robert's voice is hard. But Tywin has already torn the realm apart. He put his daughter in my bed, put his blood on my throne, made my entire reign a lie. I'm not negotiating with that. I'm ending it. Then let me suggest something, Jon says quietly. Both men look at him. Send a second raven, your grace, to Varys, in King's Landing. Why? Because he's the finest intelligence instrument in the Seven Kingdoms, Jon says. And right now, he doesn't know which side to take. Approach him first. Make him understand that you know what's coming. Make him choose you before he chooses Tywin. Robert considers. The spider plays all sides. He does, Jon agrees. But he also values stability. If you show him you're prepared, if you show him you have a plan, he'll work with you. He's useful, your grace. Useful people should be made allies before they become enemies. Ned is watching Jon with an expression Jon cannot quite read. This is not the advice of a 14-year-old boy. Robert nods slowly. All right, we send a raven to Varys. What do I tell him? Tell him you're removing every Lannister loyalist from King's Landing the moment you arrive. Tell him those who serve the realm will be rewarded. Those who serve House Lannister will be removed. Make it clear which category you expect him to fall into. Robert grins, wolf-like. I like the way you think, boy. Ned, your son is smarter than half my small council. He's always been clever, Ned says quietly. But his eyes do not leave Jon's face. Robert writes the second letter. Shorter, blunt. The message clear. Choose now, Spider. Choose correctly. When it is sealed and sent, Robert leans back. There's one more raven I need to send. To Stannis. Your brother, he's suspected the truth about Cersei's children for years. Mentioned it to me once. Quietly. I didn't want to hear it. Didn't want to believe my own brother would be right about something I was too drunk to see. Robert pauses. I'm bringing him in now, showing him the proof, making him part of what comes next. If I leave him in the dark, he'll brood, he'll calculate. Better to make him an ally. Jon speaks before he can stop himself. That's wise, your grace. I'm not, your grace. Lord Stannis is a good commander, a loyal man. You'll need him for what's coming. Yes, Robert says. I will. The third raven is sent. Robert stands, stretches, looks out at Winterfell's yard. The preparations for the journey south? 3 days, Robert says. We ride south in 3 days, and when we arrive in King's Landing, we burn every lie the Lannisters built. Every single one. Ned nods. And the prisoners, Jaime and Cersei, travel in chains, Robert says. On horseback, visible. I want every village, every crossroads, every inn between here and King's Landing to see them. I want the story to travel faster than any raven. I want the realm to know before Tywin can spin it. The people will see, Ned says. Good. Robert turns to Jon. You're riding with us, boy, near me. I want you close. You see things others miss. I'm going to need that. In the corridor, he allows himself one breath of relief. Stannis will come. Varys will choose correctly. The story will spread. Everything is aligning. But there is still so much that can go wrong. Casterly Rock. The Westerlands. 5 days later, Tywin Lannister sits in his solar. The letter from Robert Baratheon is on his desk. He has read it 3 times. Each time, the words do not change. Your son has broken every oath. Your daughter has made the king's children bastards born of incest. I have them both in chains. Tywin's face shows nothing. 60 years of mastering his expressions. But inside, something is collapsing. Not grief. Tywin Lannister does not grieve. Something colder. The recognition that everything he built, the restoration of House Lannister, the placement of his daughter as queen, the securing of his grandchildren's succession, has been destroyed by his 2 eldest children's inability to control themselves. Kevan Lannister stands nearby. Brother, call the banners, Tywin says. Kevan blinks. You're going to war? What choice do I have? Tywin's voice is flat. Robert has Jaime, he has Cersei. He has proof. If I kneel, if I go to King's Landing and beg, he will execute them both before the entire realm. And House Lannister will be finished. Not weakened. Finished. And if you go to war, you face the entire North and Stormlands combined, Kevan says carefully. Robert is not alone, Tywin. Ned Stark stands with him. The Riverlands will follow. We would be fighting half the realm. Then we fight half the realm, Tywin says, because the alternative is kneeling, and I do not kneel. He stands, walks to the window, looks out at Casterly Rock, the fortress his father nearly lost through weakness. I will not let House Lannister become a cautionary tale, Tywin says. I will not let our name be destroyed by Robert's rage. If he wants war, I will give him war, and I will make it so costly, so bloody, that he will beg to negotiate. Kevin is silent. Then, what about the children, Joffrey, Myrcella, Tommen? Robert will send them here, Tywin says. To Casterly Rock. He won't kill them. He'll strip them of their titles, make them Lannisters instead of Baratheons, and send them home. He pauses, which is fine. They are Lannisters. They should be raised as Lannisters. And Jaime, Cersei? Tywin's jaw tightens. We get them back, alive if possible, dead if necessary. But we do not leave them in Robert's hands. Send riders to every bannerman. Call every sword we have. I want 40,000 men ready to march within 2 weeks. Where? Kevin asks. The Riverlands, Tywin says. We cannot attack the north. The neck is impassable. But the Riverlands are soft, poorly defended. And Catelyn Stark is a Tully. If we ravage her homeland, Robert will have to respond. And when he does, we'll be ready. Kevin nods. Leaves to carry out the orders. Tywin sits alone, looks at the letter again. Robert's seal, the crowned stag. Going to war against Robert Baratheon is madness. Tywin knows this, but kneeling is weakness, and weakness is death. He chooses madness, the King's Road, heading south. 2 weeks after the arrest, the column stretches for half a mile. 200 men, horses, wagons, the royal party heading south to King's Landing. At the front, Robert Baratheon rides with Ned Stark. Behind them, Jon. Behind Jon, the Stark children, Robb, Sansa, Arya, Bran. The younger boys stayed at Winterfell with Catelyn, and in the middle of the column, visible to anyone who looks, Jaime Lannister and Cersei Lannister ride in chains. They are on horseback, not in a cage. Robert wants people to see their faces. The chains are heavy, iron. Locked to wrists and ankles, Jaime's Kingsguard armor is gone. He wears plain wool. Cersei's gown is dirty, travel-stained. Her hair pulled back without ornament. She looks like a woman, not a queen. And every person who sees her understands. The story spreads ahead of them like wildfire. By the time they reach the first village south of Winterfell, the innkeeper already knows. The Queen and the Kingslayer. Caught together, caught in treason, people line the road to watch them pass. Some jeer. Some stare in silence. Some cross themselves and whisper prayers. Jon rides near Robert. The king has kept him close since Winterfell. Asks his opinion. Listens when he speaks. It unnerves the other lords. A bastard. No, a legitimized son now, riding with the king like a trusted advisor. Ned notices. He pulls Jon aside one evening when they make camp. What are you doing? Ned asks quietly. What I have to, Jon says. That's not an answer. Ned's voice is firm. You're different, Jon. Since the day we found them in that tower, you're focused. Precise. You give Robert advice like you've seen this before, like you know what's coming. I had a dream about what was coming from the north, about the long night, about what happens if we're not ready. Ned's face goes very still. The long night is a legend. No, Jon says quietly, it's not, and it's coming. Soon. I don't know how I know, but I do. And I know that if the realm is tearing itself apart when it arrives, we all die. Every one of us. So I'm making sure the realm doesn't tear itself apart. Ned looks at his son. You're asking me to believe you've seen the future. I'm asking you to trust me, Jon says, the way you've always trusted me. Please, Father, just trust me. Ned looks at him for a long time, sees the certainty in Jon's eyes, the weight, the knowledge that should not be there. Finally, he nods. I trust you. I don't understand, but I trust you. That's enough, Jon says. They return to the camp. Jon finds his tent. Ghost is waiting inside. The dire wolf is growing fast, already the size of a large dog. Jon sits, scratches Ghost's ears, thinks about what comes next. Riverrun is 3 days away. Hoster Tully will receive them. The Riverlands will join the coalition, and then the trap closes on Tywin Lannister. Riverrun, the Riverlands. 3 weeks after leaving Winterfell, Hoster Tully receives them in the great hall of Riverrun. He is old, sick, but his mind is sharp and his eyes miss nothing. He looks at Jaime and Cersei in chains, looks at Robert, looks at Ned. I heard the stories, Hoster says. I did not believe them, but here you are, the Queen and the Kingslayer. Traitors, proven traitors, Robert says. Caught in the act, witnessed by a dozen men. Undeniable. Hoster nods slowly. And you're going to war. Tywin Lannister will not kneel, Robert says. He'll fight, he's probably already mobilizing, which means the Riverlands are in danger. Tywin will attack here, your lands, your people, because Catelyn is Ned's wife and he knows I'll have to respond. Hoster's jaw tightens. Then the Riverlands stand with you. My son Edmure will lead our forces, 15,000 men. We'll meet Tywin in the field and break him. No, Jon says. Every head in the room turns to look at him. Explain, boy, Robert says. Jon takes a breath. Tywin will expect us to meet him in a conventional battle. He'll bring his full strength. 40,000 men, maybe more. If we meet him head-on, even with the combined armies of the North, Riverlands, and Stormlands, we'll take heavy casualties. The battle will drag on, and we don't have time for a long war. What do you suggest? Ned asks. A trap, Jon says. We let Tywin march into the Riverlands, let him commit his forces, then we hit him from a direction he doesn't expect. We use the Crenogmen, Howland Reed's people. They know paths through the neck that no one else does. We route northern cavalry through those paths and attack Tywin's western flank while the Riverlands and Stormlands engage him from the front. Encircle him, cut off his retreat, end the war in a single battle. Hoster stares at Jon. You're suggesting a flanking maneuver using terrain Tywin doesn't know exists. Yes, my lord. Hoster pauses. That's brilliant. And if the Cranogman paths don't work, if the timing is wrong, the northern cavalry will be cut off and slaughtered. The paths work, Jon says. I've studied them. I know they work. Ned is looking at his son with an expression Jon cannot read. How do you know? I've read the histories, Jon says. It is not a lie. Just not the whole truth. The Cranogmen used those paths during the conquest, during the Dance of the Dragons. They've always worked. Robert leans back in his chair. Ned, what do you think? I think Jon is right, Ned says slowly. About the strategy. About Tywin. If we fight him conventionally, even if we win, we lose half our army. We can't afford that. Not with winter coming. Not with the threats from the north. Robert looks at Hoster. Lord Tully, but I want your word, your grace. When this is done, when Tywin is broken, the Riverlands get justice, the villages he burns, the people he kills, they get justice. You have my word, Robert says. The alliance is sealed. The war plan is set. Edmure Tully will lead the Riverlands forces. Ned will command the north. Robert will lead the Stormlands. And Jon will coordinate the intelligence, the timing, the trap, because he is the only one who knows exactly how Tywin Lannister thinks. The Riverlands. 4 weeks after leaving Winterfell, the news arrives by Raven. Gregor Clegane, the mountain that rides, is in the Riverlands. Burning villages, killing small folk, Tywin's outriders, making sure Robert knows that House Lannister is still a force to be feared. Robert reads the report. His face goes red. That fucking animal, I'm going to kill him myself. No, Ned says. You're going to let me handle it. Clegane is bait. Tywin wants you angry, wants you chasing the mountain while he positions his main force. Don't give him what he wants. Robert crushes the parchment in his fist. Then what do? We stick to the plan, Jon says. We let Tywin march in. We let him think he's winning, and then we close the trap. How long? Robert asks. 2 weeks, Jon says. Maybe less. Tywin's army is already on the move. Our scouts report 40,000 men heading east into the Riverlands. He's committed. Now we just have to be ready. Robert nods, looks at Ned. Send word to Howland Reed. I need those Cranogmen ready to guide your cavalry through the neck, and I need them ready now. Your grace, there's one more thing. What? When we capture Tywin, and we will capture him, we don't execute him. Not immediately. Robert's eyes narrow. Why the fuck not? Because a dead Tywin makes him a martyr, Jon says. His bannermen will fight to avenge him. But a living Tywin, defeated and humiliated, forced to surrender in front of the entire realm, that breaks House Lannister's mystique. That makes the other houses think twice before they ever support them again. Robert is silent. Then he laughs. A real laugh, surprised. "You're a cold little bastard, aren't you?" "I'm practical, Your Grace," Jon says. "So am I," Robert says. "And you're right. We take Tywin alive. Let him rot in a cell for a while. Let the realm see what happens to lions who forget their place." Ned looks at Jon. There is something in his father's eyes. Pride, concern, and underneath a question Ned has not yet asked aloud. Who are you really? But he does not ask. Not yet. The Riverlands. The trap. 5 weeks after leaving Winterfell, the battlefield is a stretch of open ground south of Riverrun. Tywin's army is exactly where Jon said it would be. 40,000 Lannister soldiers in tight formation, banners flying. Gregor Clegane at the vanguard. The Riverlands and Stormlands forces engage from the front. 15,000 Tully men, 20,000 Baratheon and loyal Stormlander forces. The lines clash. Steel on steel. Screaming. Blood. Tywin watches from his command post. Assessing. Calculating. He sees Robert's banners. Sees the Stark direwolf. Sees exactly what he expected to see. He does not see the northern cavalry moving through the hidden paths in the neck. Does not know they are there until it is too late. Ned Stark leads the charge personally. 5,000 northern horse. They appear on Tywin's western flank like ghosts. Howland Reed's Cranogmen guided them through paths no Southron lord knew existed. The Lannister formation breaks. Not immediately. Tywin's men are disciplined, but they are surrounded, encircled. The front is pushing. The flank is collapsing. Tywin sees what is happening, sees the trap, sees that he has been outmaneuvered by a strategy he never anticipated. He calls the retreat. But there is nowhere to retreat to. The northern cavalry has cut off the western escape. The Riverlands hold the east. The south is Robert's Stormlanders, pushing hard. The battle lasts 3 hours. When it ends, 10,000 Lannister soldiers are dead. Another 15,000 have surrendered. The remaining 15,000 scattered into the countryside, broken and leaderless. Tywin Lannister is found in his command tent. He has not fled. He is standing, alone, waiting. Robert enters the tent, Ned beside him, Jon behind them both. Tywin looks at Robert, then at Ned, then at Jon. His face shows nothing, but his eyes linger on Jon for a long moment. "The bastard," Tywin says quietly. "This was your strategy." Jon says nothing. "Clever," Tywin says. "Extraordinarily clever. You used terrain I didn't know existed. Timed it perfectly. Encircled my army before I understood what was happening." He pauses. "Who taught you to think like this?" "Experience," Jon says. Tywin almost smiles. "You're 14 years old. What experience could you possibly have?" Jon meets his gaze, says nothing. Robert steps forward. "Lord Tywin Lannister, you are defeated. Your army is broken. Your children are in chains. I am giving you one chance. One. Kneel, surrender, and live. Or refuse, and die here. Choose." Tywin looks at Robert for a long time. The silence stretches. Every man in the tent is holding his breath. Finally, Tywin goes to one knee. It is not a quick motion, not a collapse. It is controlled, deliberate. The motion of a man who has chosen survival over pride, even though it costs him everything. "I surrender," Tywin says. His voice is flat, empty. House Lannister yields to the crown. Robert nods. "Take him. Chain him. He's a prisoner of the crown until I decide what to do with him." Guards move forward. Tywin does not resist. He is led out of the tent in chains. The greatest lord in Westeros, defeated, broken. Jon watches him go, feels nothing. No satisfaction, no triumph. Just the cold certainty that this had to happen. Ned approaches Jon. You knew exactly where he would be, exactly how he would move." "How?" "I studied him," Jon says. "I read everything about him, about how he thinks, how he commands. I just knew. It is not the truth, but it is close enough." Ned stares at his son, then nods. "We need to talk, soon. About who you really are, I know," Jon says. "But not yet, not until this is finished." Casterly Rock, 6 weeks after leaving Winterfell. The siege of Casterly Rock is brief. Without Tywin, without the main Lannister army. The castle has only a skeleton garrison. Stannis Baratheon's fleet blockades the harbor. Robert's army surrounds the landward approaches. There is no relief coming, no escape. The castle surrenders within 2 weeks. Robert stands in the great hall of Casterly Rock, the seat of House Lannister for thousands of years, the richest castle in Westeros. He looks at the Lannister servants, the household guards, the maesters. Where is the gold? They show him the mines beneath the castle, the vaults, the wealth that has made House Lannister the most powerful force in Westeros for generations. Robert claims it, all of it, for the crown, reparations, he calls it, payment for treason. Tywin, chained in a cell below the castle he spent his life defending, hears the news, says nothing, just sits in the darkness. His life's work, his legacy, everything he built, gone. Robert leaves a garrison, northern men under a northern commander. Casterly Rock will be held by the crown now. House Lannister is finished as a power. The column prepares to ride for King's Landing. Robert, Ned, Jon, the prisoners, Jaime, Cersei, and now Tywin. The war is over. House Lannister is broken. Now comes the purge. King's Landing, the Red Keep, the throne room, 298 AC, 8 weeks after the arrest. The Iron Throne looms over the assembled court. 1,000 swords melted together, jagged, cruel. A throne that cuts those who are unworthy. Robert Baratheon sits upon it, sober. His face is carved from stone. 8 weeks since Winterfell. 8 weeks since his world shattered. He has not been drunk in all that time. The change is visible. His eyes are clear, sharp, dangerous. The throne room is packed. Every lord who could make the journey, every courtier, every servant, they have all heard the rumors. The queen caught with the Kingslayer, the king's heirs revealed as bastards. Now they will see justice done. Ned Stark stands at the base of the throne, hand of the king, the white metal pin on his chest. Jon stands beside him, no longer a bastard, Jon Stark, legitimized, honored, trusted. The doors open. Guards enter. Between them, 3 prisoners in chains. Jaime Lannister, still in rough wool, no longer golden. His hair is dirty, his face unshaven, but his eyes are steady, defiant to the end. Cersei Lannister, once the most beautiful woman in the 7 kingdoms, now hollow-eyed. Gaunt, the journey south in chains has stripped away her majesty. She looks like what she is, a criminal. Tywin Lannister, the great lion of Casterly Rock, defeated, captured, chained. His face shows nothing, but Jon can see the tension in his shoulders, the barely controlled rage. The court erupts in whispers. To see Tywin Lannister in chains is to see the impossible made real. Robert raises his hand. Silence falls. Jaime Lannister, Robert says. His voice carries through the hall. You stand accused of high treason. You violated your sacred oaths as a Kingsguard. You committed adultery with the queen. You fathered 3 bastards and passed them off as legitimate heirs to the throne. How do you plead? Guilty, Jaime says. His voice is clear, unashamed. Gasps from the crowd. You admit your crimes? Robert leans forward. I admit I loved Cersei. I admit I fathered her children. But I do not admit treason. I never sought the throne. I never plotted against you. I only wanted to be with her. Robert's face darkens. You cuckolded your king. You cuckolded yourself, Jaime says. By marrying a woman you didn't love, by forcing her into a marriage she never wanted. We are both guilty, Robert. You of neglect, me of love. Robert's hand grips the armrest of the throne. A jagged edge cuts his palm. Blood wells. He does not notice. The law says you should die, Robert says quietly, dangerously. But I am not without mercy. I sentence you to the Night's Watch. You will take the black, forsake your name, serve the realm until death. You will never hold a sword except to defend against what comes from beyond the wall. Jaime's face shows nothing. He nods once. Acceptance, he is led away. The court is silent. Sending a Kingsguard to the wall instead of execution, it is mercy. Brutal mercy, but mercy nonetheless. Cersei is brought forward next. Robert looks at her, the woman he married, the woman who betrayed him for 17 years. Cersei Lannister, you committed treason against your king and your husband. You bore bastards and passed them off as legitimate heirs. You lied to the realm. What have you to say in your defense? I did what I had to do to survive you. The court gasps. To speak to the king this way, Robert's face goes red, then white, then very, very calm. You survived me well enough. In my bed, in my castle, spending my gold, wearing my crown. A crown I never wanted, a bed I despised, a life that was a prison. Cersei's voice is vicious. You never loved me, Robert. You spoke her name on our wedding night. You made me live in her shadow for 17 years. So yes, I found comfort where I could, with the only man who ever truly loved me. Robert stands, descends the steps of the throne. The court holds its breath. He stops in front of Cersei, looks her in the eye. I sentence you to exile. You will be sent to a sept in the Reach. You will live as a silent sister for the remainder of your natural life. You will take a vow of silence. You will never speak again. You will never see your children again. You will be forgotten. Cersei's face crumples. Not death. She could face death, but this, to be silenced, to be erased, to be nothing. No, she whispers. Please, not that. Kill me. But not take her away, Robert says. Cersei screams as the guards drag her out. Curses, pleads. The court watches in horrified fascination. The queen reduced to a shrieking, desperate woman. It is a fall greater than any execution. When the doors close behind her, silence returns. Tywin Lannister is brought forward. Robert returns to the throne, sits, studies the man who has ruled from the shadows for decades. Tywin Lannister, your children committed treason. You raised them, you benefited from their crimes. Your daughter was queen, your grandchildren were heirs to the throne, all built on lies and incest. Tywin meets Robert's gaze. I was not aware of my children's relationship, Your Grace. If I had been— Spare me, Robert interrupts. You're many things, Tywin, but you're not blind. You knew, or you should have known. Either way, you are complicit. Tywin says nothing. There is nothing to say. You raised your armies, Robert continues. You marched against me. You were defeated in the field. Your house is broken. Your legacy is ashes. He pauses. I could execute you. I could strip every title, every holding, end House Lannister entirely. The court waits. But I am not Aerys Targaryen, Robert says. I do not slaughter families. I do not burn men alive for the crimes of their children. He leans forward. You will be confined to Casterly Rock under guard for the remainder of your life. You will watch as the realm moves on without you. You will watch your name become a warning instead of a source of pride. And you will die knowing that everything you built, I tore down in 8 weeks. But he does not speak. Casterly Rock will be held by the crown, Robert continues. Tyrion Lannister, who had the wisdom to stay out of his father's foolish war, will govern as Castellan. Kevan Lannister will serve as Warden of the West. House Lannister will survive, but it will never again threaten the peace of the realm. Tywin is led away. He does not look back, does not acknowledge the court. He walks with his head high, a lion caged but not broken. When he is gone, Robert slumps in the throne, exhausted. It's done. The Lannisters are dealt with. The realm is secure. Ned steps forward. There is still work to be done, Your Grace. The small council must be reformed. The traitors removed. Then let's get to it, Robert says. No more waiting. No more games. We clean house. Today, the Red Keep. The small council chamber. 1 hour later, the small council sits around the table. But it is not the council Robert left behind when he went north. Changes have been made. Janos Slynt, commander of the City Watch, sits nervously. He has heard the rumors, knows what is coming. Grand Maester Pycelle wrings his hands, sweat beads on his forehead. He has served the Lannisters for decades. Now the Lannisters are gone. Varys sits calmly, the spider, master of whisperers. His face shows nothing, but Jon can see the calculation in his eyes. Petyr Baelish leans back in his chair, master of coin, confident, smiling, always smiling. Robert sits at the head of the table, Ned beside him. Jon stands near the door, watching, listening. Janos Slynt, Robert says. Step forward. Slynt rises, approaches. Your Grace, how much did Littlefinger pay you to betray the hand of the king? Slynt goes pale. Your Grace, I don't know what. Jon, Robert says, tell him what you know. Cold. You were paid 10,000 gold dragons by Petyr Baelish. The payment was made 3 months ago. The gold is hidden in a chest beneath your bed in your quarters. You were ordered to arrest Lord Stark the moment he moved against the Queen's children, to hold him until Littlefinger gave further orders. Slynt stares at Jon. How do you— That's not. Gold glints inside. Robert looks at Slint. You have anything to say? Your Grace, please. I was only... Take him to the black cells, Robert says. He'll be executed tomorrow. Slint is dragged away screaming. The remaining council members sit very still. Grand Maester Pycelle, Robert says. Pycelle looks up, trembling. Ye, Your Grace, how long have you been reporting to Tywin Lannister? I serve the realm, Your Grace. I would never... We have your letters, Ned says. He places a stack of parchment on the table. Every message you sent to Casterly Rock, every small council meeting you reported, every word I spoke that you carried to Tywin. Your Grace, I beg you, I am an old man. I have served for 40 years. You served yourself, Robert says. And the Lannisters? Strip his chain, take him to the black cells, he'll join Slint tomorrow. Pycelle is dragged away weeping. Littlefinger is no longer smiling. Lord Varys, Robert says, the spider, master of whisperers, where do your loyalties lie? With the realm, Your Grace, as they have always been. Jon, Robert says, tell him what we know. You have been working with Illyrio Mopatis of Pentos to restore the Targaryen dynasty. You planned to bring Khal Drogo and his Dothraki to invade Westeros on behalf of Daenerys Targaryen. You needed time. You didn't want the Stark-Lannister war to happen so soon because the Dothraki weren't ready. Varys's face remains calm, but something flickers in his eyes. Fear. The evidence is substantial, Ned says. Letters, testimony from your little birds. Payments to Illyrio. You have been plotting to overthrow the crown for years. Varys is silent for a long moment. Then he sighs. Your Grace, I have only ever sought what is best for the realm. Stability, peace. The Targaryens are done, Robert says. And so are you. Take him to the black cells. Varys rises, does not resist. A pity, he says as the guards seize him. I had such plans. He looks at Jon as he is led away. You are remarkable, young Stark. Truly remarkable. I wonder what else you know. The doors close. Only Littlefinger remains. Lord Baelish, Robert says. His voice is very quiet, very dangerous. Master of coin, the man who started all of this. Littlefinger's smile is gone, but his voice is smooth, unconcerned. Your Grace, I assure you, whatever accusations have been made, you poisoned Jon Arryn, Jon says. He steps forward. You convinced Lysa Arryn to poison her own husband. Then you had her send a letter to Catelyn Stark blaming the Lannisters. You wanted war, chaos. You wanted the realm to tear itself apart so you could climb higher. Littlefinger looks at Jon, really looks at him for the first time. Who are you? Jon Stark, son of Eddard Stark. You're something else, something more. You know things you shouldn't know. You see things others don't see. He looks at Robert. Your Grace, this boy is dangerous. He has secrets. He knows about the Targaryen girl across the narrow sea. He knows about... I know you're a traitor, Robert interrupts. That's all I need to know. Take him. His face is calm, but his eyes are calculating, looking for the exit, the play, the angle. There is none. Well, he says, I suppose this is the end of the game. I should have left sooner. You should have. Littlefinger is led away. He does not scream like Slint, does not weep like Pycelle. He walks calmly, a gambler who lost the final hand. When the room is empty except for Robert, Ned, and Jon, Robert slumps in his chair. It's done, he says. The Vipers are removed. The council is clean, not entirely, Ned says. We still need to appoint new members. Tomorrow, Robert says. He looks at Jon. You have a talent for this, boy. Seeing through lies, finding traitors. Where did you learn it? What experience could you possibly have? Jon meets his gaze, says nothing. Robert stares at him for a long moment, then nods slowly. Keep your secrets, Jon Stark. You've earned that right. Just keep using that talent of yours to protect the realm. I will, Your Grace. The Red Keep, the courtyard, the next morning. 3 men kneel in the courtyard. Janos Slint, Grand Maester Pycelle, Varys the Spider. The court is assembled, every lord, every lady, every servant. Robert wants this witnessed, wants the message sent. Littlefinger is not among them. He is already dead. Ned Stark executed him personally last night. In the Godswood of the Red Keep, private, swift, ice through the neck. Now comes the public justice. Robert stands on the steps. These men betrayed the crown, betrayed the realm. The the sentence is death. Ser Island Payne steps forward. The king's justice, silent, efficient. One by one the heads fall. Quick, clean, final. The crowd watches in silence. This is a new Robert, not the drunk, not the laughing warrior. Something harder, something more dangerous. When it is done, Robert addresses the court. Let this be known throughout the 7 kingdoms. I am done with games, done with lies, done with treachery. Any man who plots against the crown will face justice. Swift and final. There will be no more warnings. He turns and walks back into the Red Keep. The message has been sent. Jon watches from the walls. 3 arrests in Winterfell, 3 executions in King's Landing. The Game of Thrones is ending, not with a whimper, but with a blade. The old players are gone. Now comes the work of rebuilding. The Red Keep. Robert's solar. 2 weeks later, Robert sits at his desk, a cup of wine beside him, untouched. Old habits die hard, but he is trying. Ned enters. Jon follows. Sit, Robert says. We need to talk. They sit. Robert looks at them both. The realm is secure. The Lannisters are broken. The traitors are dead. The treasury is full. Tyrion found 3 million gold dragons Littlefinger had hidden in the vaults. We're in a better position than we've been in 17 years. Yes, Your Grace, Ned says. But I'm not getting any younger, Robert continues. And I have no heirs. The children I thought were mine. He stops, shakes his head. I need to secure the succession. Stannis is my legal heir. But Stannis is... He grimaces. Stannis. He is your brother, Ned says carefully, and a capable commander. He's also joyless, rigid, and half the realm can't stand him, Robert says bluntly. Renly is better liked but too young, too untested. He pauses. I need someone I can trust. Someone who has proven themselves, someone who understands what the realm needs. Your Grace, I want to legitimize you as a Baratheon, Robert says. Jon Baratheon, my nephew by marriage. Lyanna was to be my wife. That makes you family, close enough family to be my heir if I choose. Robert, Ned says. His voice is tight. We discussed this Jon's parentage. I know who his real father is, Robert interrupts. You told me. Rhaegar Targaryen. The room goes very still. I should hate him for it, Robert continues. Rhaegar's blood, the man I killed, the man who stole Lyanna. He looks at Jon. But you're also Lyanna's son, the only part of her that still exists in this world. And you saved me, saved the realm. That has to count for something. Jon's voice is careful, measured. Your Grace, I am honored. But the realm will not accept a Targaryen as your heir, even if I take the Baratheon name. The realm doesn't need to know, Robert says. As far as anyone is concerned, you're Ned's bastard. Legitimized as a Stark, then legitimized as a Baratheon because you're my nephew through Lyanna. The Targaryen blood stays secret, and when the truth comes out, Jon asks, because it will. Secrets always come out. Then we deal with it when it happens, Robert says. But for now, I need an heir I can trust. I need someone who can face what's coming. What's coming? Ned asks. Jon takes a breath. This is it, the moment he has been building toward. The North, Your Grace. Beyond the wall, the White Walkers, the army of the dead. They're real, and they're coming. Robert stares at him. The White Walkers are a legend, a story to scare children. They're not, Jon says. I've seen them, in dreams, in visions. I know what they are, I know what they can do, and I know that if the realm is divided when they arrive, we all die. Every one of us. Ned looks at his son. This is why you stopped the war, why you exposed the Lannisters. You weren't just preventing a conflict, you were preparing for something worse. Yes. Robert is silent for a long moment. Then he stands, walks to the window, looks out at the city. You're asking me to believe in monsters. I'm asking you to prepare for them, Jon says. Send men to the wall, reinforce the Night's Watch, start mining dragonglass obsidian. It kills them. We need it in quantity. If there are no White Walkers, no army of the dead, then I've wasted resources and looked like a fool. And if I'm right and you do nothing, Jon counters, then the realm ends. Not in war, in ice and death. Robert turns, looks at Ned. Do you believe him? Ned meets his gaze. I've seen things in the North, Robert, heard stories. The old tales are warnings, not just entertainment. I believe something is coming. Whether it's exactly what Jon describes, I don't know, but I trust him. Robert nods slowly. Then we prepare. We send men to the wall. We mine dragon glass. We get ready for the impossible. He looks at Jon. And you, Jon Stark. I'm naming you Lord Commander of the King's forces in the north. You'll coordinate with the Night's Watch. You'll prepare the defenses. And when winter comes, you'll be ready. Jon stands, bows. Yes, Your Grace. And one more thing, Robert says. I'm legitimizing you as Jon Baratheon, my nephew, my heir should I die before I father legitimate children. Stannis will still be next in line, but if something happens to him and to me, you'll have a claim. The realm will have stability. Your Grace, it's done, Jon. I've already signed the decree. You're a Baratheon now. Learn to live with it. Thank you, Your Grace. Don't thank me yet, Robert says. You've got the hardest job in the Seven Kingdoms, convincing everyone that monsters are real. 1 month later, the lords of Westeros are assembled, a great council, called to discuss the threat from the north. Most of them think it's madness. White Walkers, the army of the dead, children's stories. But they came anyway, because the king commanded it. Robert sits on the Iron Throne, Ned beside him. Jon stands at the base of the steps, the new Lord Commander of the North. Jon Baratheon, legitimized, acknowledged, trusted. My lords, Robert says, I have called you here to discuss a threat to the realm, a threat that most of you do not believe exists. But I am telling you now it is real, and it is coming, murmurs ripple through the crowd. Lord Jon Baratheon will explain, Robert says. Jon steps forward. Every eye in the room is on him, skeptical, doubtful. He has faced worse. The Night's Watch has been sending reports for months, Jon begins. Wildlings moving south in unprecedented numbers. Rangers disappearing beyond the wall. Strange sightings in the frozen wastes, the dead walking. Stories, someone calls from the crowd. Legends. Would you bet your children's lives that the stories are false? He pauses. I have seen what is coming. I know what it looks like. And I am telling you, if we are not prepared, we will all die. Not in some distant future. Soon, within a few years. You expect us to believe you've seen the future? Another lord asks, mocking. I expect you to believe the Night's Watch, Jon says. They are your eyes on the wall. They are the shield that guards the realms of men. And they are telling you something is wrong. Ignoring them is not wisdom, it's suicide. Ned steps forward. I believe him. I have seen things in the north. Heard tales from men I trust. This is not a game. This is not politics. This is survival. Stannis Baratheon speaks from the crowd. If what you say is true, what do you need? Jon meets his gaze. 10,000 men sent to the wall, dragon glass weapons forged and distributed to every garrison. Obsidian, it kills the dead, we need it in massive quantities, and we need the entire realm mobilized, united. Ready? That's a significant commitment, someone says. The army of the dead is larger, Jon says. Much larger, and it grows with every person it kills. We need overwhelming force, or we lose. Robert stands. I am ordering it. 10,000 men to the wall. Volunteers first. Conscripts if we must. Every forge in the realm will produce dragon glass weapons. Every castle will be stocked. We will be ready. The lords are silent. Some nod, convinced, others still skeptical. But the king has spoken. They will obey. The council disperses. Jon stands alone in the throne room, looking at the map of Westeros on the wall. At the wall. At the north beyond it, he has done it. United the realm, removed the traitors, prepared the defenses. Now comes the waiting, and the war. The Red Keep, the ramparts. Dawn, 1 year later, Jon stands on the walls of the Red Keep, looking north, always north. Ghost is beside him, fully grown now, massive, silent, white as snow. The sun rises over King's Landing, 500,000 people. All alive, all unaware of what is coming. But they are ready. Jon has made sure of that. Footsteps, Jon does not turn. He knows who it is. Varys? No. Varys is dead, executed a year ago. It is Tyrion Lannister, the imp, released from Casterly Rock, brought to King's Landing to serve as master of coin. He has proven himself capable, loyal, useful. Lord Jon, Tyrion says. Or should I say Lord Commander? Jon is fine. Jon says. Tyrion stands beside him, looks north. Do you really believe they're coming? The White Walkers? Yes, I've studied the histories, Tyrion says. The Long Night, the Age of Heroes, the legends are fascinating. But legends, not stories. And you know this because Jon looks at him, because I've seen them, because I've fought them, because I've died and come back and I remember every moment of it. You're serious. Completely. Tyrion is silent for a long moment. Then he nods. Well, if you're right, at least we'll be prepared. And if you're wrong, we'll have a very well-armed Night's Watch and a lot of obsidian we don't need. I'm not wrong. I believe you, Tyrion says. He pauses. There's something else. A raven arrived this morning. From Pentos, Illyrio Mopatis sends word. Daenerys Targaryen has hatched 3 dragons. Jon's heart stops. Dragons. Real dragons. Alive. Growing. The first in 150 years. Tyrion looks at him. What do we do? Jon takes a breath. We invite her to Westeros. As an ally. Not an enemy. Robert won't like that. Robert doesn't have to like it. He just has to accept it. We're going to need those dragons when the dead come. We're going to need every advantage we can get. You want to ally with a Targaryen, Tyrion says. The man who legitimized you is Robert Baratheon, the man who killed the last Targaryen king. I'll make the offer. Daenerys Targaryen is not her father. She's a girl who has suffered, who has survived, who has power she doesn't fully understand yet. We can help her, and she can help us. This is a dangerous game, Jon. The game is already over, Jon says. Now comes the real war, and we need every piece on the board. Tyrion nods slowly. Then I'll help you draft the message, but this stays between us until it's done. Agreed? Agreed. Jon has changed everything, saved his family, stopped the war, united the realm, removed the traitors. But the hardest part is still ahead. The long night, the army of the dead, the battle for survival. He is ready. He has always been ready. Winter is coming. But this time the realm will survive. The Red Keep, a secret chamber late at night. 1 month later, the room is small. Private, only 3 people know it exists. Jon sits at a table, a single candle burning. Across from him, a guest, hooded, cloaked. Arrived by ship in the dead of night, the hood comes down, silver hair, purple eyes, young, barely older than Jon himself. Daenerys Targaryen, you sent for me, she says. Her voice is careful, guarded. Your message said you could help me take back my throne. I lied, Jon says. I don't want to help you take the throne. I want to help you save the world. Daenerys stares at him. Who are you? Jon Baratheon, legitimized son of Robert Baratheon, Lord Commander of the North. And the only person in Westeros who knows what's really coming, the White Walkers, Daenerys says. Your message mentioned them. I thought they were legends. Soon, when they do, we'll need every weapon we have, including dragons. Daenerys' hand goes to her chest, where her dragons sleep in a locked chamber below the ship. How do you know about... I know many things, Jon says. I know you hatched them in Khal Drogo's funeral pyre. I know you walked into the fire and emerged unburnt. I know you're the last Targaryen, the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. Then why did you invite me here? Daenerys asks. Why not just kill me? Robert Baratheon hates my family. He sent assassins after me. His health is failing. He has a year, maybe less. When he dies, Stannis will take the throne, or I will. Either way, the realm will need you, not as a conqueror, as an ally. Against the dead, yes. Daenerys is silent, studying him. You're asking me to give up my birthright, to help the realm that overthrew my family, that killed my father, that drove me into exile. I'm asking you to save millions of lives, Jon says, including your own. When the long night comes, it won't matter who sits on the Iron Throne. The dead don't care about crowns or kingdoms. They only care about adding to their numbers. If we don't stand together, we all die. Daenerys stands, paces. And what do I get in return? A place, Jon says. A home. Safety for you and your dragons. And when the war is over, if you still want the throne, we'll discuss it. But first, we survive. She looks at him. You're very confident for someone so young. I've lived longer than you know. It means I've seen the future. I've seen what happens if we don't work together. I've seen the world end in ice and darkness. And I've come back to stop it. Daenerys stares at him. You're serious. Completely. She sits back down. All right, I'll help you, but I want it in writing. A treaty. protection for me and my dragons, a seat at the table when decisions are made. And when this is over, we revisit the question of the throne. Agreed, Jon says. He extends his hand. She takes it. They shake. An alliance sealed. One more thing, Daenerys says. You said Robert is dying. What happens when he's gone? The realm stabilizes, Jon says. Stannis takes the throne, or I do. Either way, we continue the preparations. We build the defenses. We train the armies. And when the dead come, we're ready. And if they don't come, Daenerys asks, if you're wrong? Jon's face is grim. I'm not wrong. I've seen them. I've fought them. I've died fighting them. They're coming. The only question is whether we're ready when they do. Daenerys nods slowly. Then we'd better get to work. He died in his sleep 6 months ago, peacefully, surrounded by friends. A better death than he deserved. Stannis Baratheon is king now. Stannis the just, hard, rigid, uncompromising, but fair. He has continued Robert's policies, the preparations for the long night, the fortification of the wall, the stockpiling of dragonglass. He believes Jon, not because he wants to, because the evidence is undeniable. Jon stands in the courtyard of Winterfell. Home, he has been Lord Commander of the North for 3 years now. He has fortified every castle, trained every garrison, built alliances with the free folk beyond the wall. Mance Rayder stands beside him, king beyond the wall. Once an enemy, now an ally. Jon offered him safe passage through the wall in exchange for military support against the White Walkers. Mance accepted. 80,000 wildlings now live south of the wall, integrated into the North's defenses, armed, trained, ready. They're coming soon, Mance says. I can feel it. The cold, the darkness. The old gods are restless. I know, Jon says. But we're ready this time, are we? Mance looks at him. You've seen them, fought them. Can we really win? We can survive, Jon says. That's all that matters. A raven arrives. Jon reads the message. His face hardens. What is it? Mance asks. The Night's Watch reports movement beyond the wall. The dead are marching south. Hundreds of thousands of them. Jon looks north. It's beginning. Every lord of the north is assembled. Every banner, every house. They stand in ranks, silent, waiting. Jon stands at the front, Ned beside him, Robb, Sansa, Arya, Bran. The Starks united. The dead are coming, Jon says. His voice carries through the hall. Everything I've warned you about, everything we've prepared for. It's here, now. The lords are silent. No more skepticism, no more doubt. The reports from the wall are undeniable. We have 80,000 wildlings, Jon continues. 30,000 northern soldiers, 20,000 from the Vale, 15,000 from the Riverlands, 10,000 from the Stormlands, and 3 dragons. Murmurs. The dragons are still a source of wonder. Daenerys keeps them hidden, but their existence is known. The army of the dead is larger, Jon says. Hundreds of thousands, maybe more. But we have dragonglass, we have Valyrian steel. We have knowledge, we know how they fight, how they think, how to kill them. He pauses. This is the fight for survival. Not for crowns, not for glory, for the future, for our children, for every living thing in Westeros. We fight together or we die alone. The North remembers. We remember the long night, the age of heroes. The legends are real, and we will face them as our ancestors did together. The hall erupts in cheers, not celebration, determination. The North is ready. Jon looks at his family, at the people who raised him, who trusted him, who followed him into the impossible. Winter is here, Jon says. Let's end it. The wall, the battle for the dawn. 6 months later, the wall stretches across the horizon, 100 leagues of ice and stone, the greatest fortification ever built. On the southern side, the armies of the living, 150,000 men and women, armed with dragonglass and Valyrian steel, ready. On the northern side, the army of the dead, hundreds of thousands of White Walkers riding dead horses, the Night King at their head. Jon stands on the wall, looking down at the horde. He has seen this before, lived through it, died in it. Not this time. Daenerys lands beside him, Drogon beneath her. The dragon is massive now, black scales, red eyes, fire incarnate. Are you ready? Jon asks. As ready as I'll ever be, Daenerys says. "You're sure this will work?" "No," Jon admits. "But it's our best chance." The Night King raises his arms. The dead begin to march. A tide of corpses. Silent. Relentless. Jon raises his hand. Now! Screaming, writhing. But the Night King is untouched. He walks through the flames. Unstoppable. Jon descends the wall. Long claw in hand. Valyrian steel. One of the few weapons that can kill a White Walker. The Night King sees him. Stops. They stand 50 paces apart. "I've fought you before," Jon says. "I know how this ends." The Night King does not speak, just raises his sword. Ice-forged, ancient. They charge. Steel meets ice. The impact rings across the battlefield. Jon fights with everything he has, every skill, every memory, every moment of his past life. The Night King is stronger, faster, but Jon knows his moves, has fought him 1,000 times in his mind. Longclaw finds a gap, drives through the Night King's chest. The White Walker shatters, ice exploding into 1,000 fragments. The army of the dead collapses. Every White Walker, they fall like puppets with cut strings. Silence, the living stare, disbelieving. It's over. Just like that, Jon stands alone on the field, surrounded by corpses, Longclaw still in his hand. Daenerys lands beside him, dismounts. "You did it." "We did it," Jon corrects. He looks at the army, at the survivors. 70,000 remain, half lost in the battle, but they won. The realm survives. King's Landing, the Iron Throne. 5 years later, 306 AC. The throne room is different. The Iron Throne has been melted down. Reforged. 2 seats now, side by side, equals. Jon sits in one, Daenerys in the other. King Jon Baratheon. Queen Daenerys Targaryen, united, married, rulers of the 7 kingdoms. The lords of Westeros kneel before them, not in fear, in respect. The long night is over, the dead are defeated, the realm is at peace. Jon looks at Daenerys. She smiles. They have built something new, something better. "We broke the wheel," Jon says quietly. "And built something better," Daenerys agrees. A child runs into the throne room, 4 years old. Silver hair, gray eyes. Their son, Eddard Baratheon, named for the man who raised Jon, the man who died in the battle for the Dawn. Jon scoops him up, holds him. "Hello, little wolf. Father, tell me about the dragons again." Daenerys laughs. "Your father has told you that story 100 times. I want to hear it again." Jon looks at his wife, his son. The throne room, the realm at peace. He has done it, changed the future, saved everyone he loved, built a better world. The Game of Thrones is over. The realm is united. Winter came and was defeated. And for the first time in 2 lifetimes, Jon Snow, Jon Stark, Jon Baratheon is at peace. The end.